Hey everybody, welcome to Watches with Dennis, and today we're going to do a new video segment that I might not repeat because I think it's ridiculous, but we're going to try it. I'm going to call it Fighting Watches, which I should call it Watch Wars, but I've seen other videos use that title before, so I don't want to be too duplicative, so I lose my alliteration. We're going to do Fighting Watches. So just a little goofy thing because I've not had a lot of good watch news that I've wanted to talk about. So here's what I'm going to do. I have taken all watches that I own. I currently own 13 watches. Have a list of those, obviously. I've thrown them into a randomizer at random.org. And what we're going to do is we're going to randomize that list, and the top 2 watches in the list are going to be put in a face-off. However, it's not going to be a legitimate face-off where I actually tell you which one is better than the other, in the sense that I think one is better than the other. Whatever watch is listed as number 1 is going to win. So it's a rigged Fighting Watches. The randomizer can't be wrong. That's how the randomizer is. So let's go ahead and let's go to random.org here. I've got my list. Let me go ahead and click to randomize. Okay, so we've got Mr. Jones watches Step Right Up versus Zenith's Chronomaster Original, and the Mr. Jones watch needs to win. So let's go ahead and flip the camera around, and hey, regardless of how ridiculous this concept is, at the very least, you'll get some 4K video of a couple of watches. All right, so let's do this Fighting Watches face-off. Let's start with the Mr. Jones watch. It was the number 1 in our matchup. So this watch is 37 millimeters in diameter, 46 millimeters lug to lug, 18 millimeter lug width. It offers 50 meters of water resistance, and it is powered by a quartz movement. Specifically, it's driven by the Ronda 513S. So for comparison's sake, here's the Zenith Chronomaster Original. This is a 38 millimeter diameter watch. It also is 46 millimeters lug to lug. It's 19 millimeters in terms of lug width. The thickness on this watch, incidentally, is just under 13 millimeters. It also offers 50 meters of water resistance. It is a chronograph, so it does offer that functionality. In addition, this watch also has a date, whereas the Mr. Jones watch was a time-only piece. This is a mechanical 5 hertz movement. So comparing these two watches side by side, they don't seem like they're really in the same tier, in the sense that the Zenith is clearly a sports style watch, whereas the Step Right Up watch feels more along the lines of a dress watch, but it's too playful really for that. But given it's on the leather strap, it's time only, a lot of it is very functionally in that realm. Now sizing, these are very, very similar watches. They're both under 40 millimeters in diameter. But I'm going to tell you why the Mr. Jones watch is vastly superior, because the randomizer says it's vastly superior, so it must be. First of all, let's talk about pricing. This Mr. Jones watch retailed at $245. Now, it is sold out because this is a limited edition, but by comparison, when the Zenith came out, it retailed at $9,000 on bracelet. So obviously, price goes way in favor of Step Right Up. The second thing, as I mentioned, is Step Right Up is sold out. This is an LE. This is a limited edition watch. They only made 100 of them. They are still making the Zenith Chronomaster Original. So I don't want to use the word dime a dozen with the Zenith because, I mean, it's not a dime. It's, more like $9,000. But that being said, they are readily available. In fact, you can find them for less on the gray market and used because Zenith has produced so many of them. Mr. Jones watches has never reproduced Step Right Up, so the original 100 run is the only run that has to date been created of this particular watch. Another advantage of this watch is it's very, very creative. Look at the fun that you have. You have these shooting targets, the hour up at the top on the duck, and what minute it is down at the position above this sort of flower petal here. And then you've got this old-timey shooting gallery aesthetic going on. Ryan Clater did the art for this watch piece, and it is very, very attractive. The Zenith, while not ugly, clearly is a much more conventional style watch. You have the tricolor registers. You have a 4:30 date window, which is going to alienate a lot of people no matter what. And obviously, this is all in service to the chronograph. Both of these watches are actually relatively hard to read, but that actually goes in the favor of Step Right Up. Step Right Up is only a time-telling watch. All it does is hours and minutes. That's it. No seconds, no dates, no chronographs. And so, yes, the window that occupies the time-telling is just a small portion of the dial, which does cause some legibility issues, but that is all in service to the art. The point of the watch is the art. That's what we're celebrating. With the Zenith, 38 millimeter watch, you're trying to read a chronograph. Yeah, sticking the 10th of a second indicators out on the edge of the chapter ring does help with the legibility of that, but these subdials still are pretty small. You have to get relatively close to read them. There are a lot bigger chronographs out there for a reason. It's because of legibility, and the Zenith is something of a fail in that regard, especially versus Step Right Up. So again, another point to Step Right Up. Step Right Up's 37mm sizing makes a lot of sense for a time-only watch. Being small is a virtue in that regard, whereas with a watch like this with all these functions, 38mm, that extra millimeter doesn't go nearly far enough to assist. In terms of servicing as well, the Zenith is going to be a bigger bit of a problem because it's using an El Primero 5Hz movement. Yes, that's a very robust movement, but it is a mechanical movement. It will require servicing. Whereas Step Right Up, being driven by a Rondo quartz movement, very little need of actual servicing. It's simple as battery changes. I actually got this watch used after it had been in existence for a couple of years. The battery did die after I got it. I was able to change that out myself. I didn't have to go to a watchmaker. I spent about, 90 cents on a battery, and I took care of it. So another point in favor of Step Right Up. So in terms of summary, Step Right Up, clearly the winner of fighting watches here. Its sizing is far more appropriate for what features are on the dial versus the Zenith. The movement is far less fussy, far less money is going to be needed to keep it running versus this complicated mechanical chronograph of the Zenith. Step Right Up retailed at a much more approachable price point than the Zenith, so there's a point in favor there for pretty much anyone who's really into watches having been able to acquire it other than its limited status. And the fact that it is limited also makes it more special than this readily produced, still in production, common Zenith watch. Well, that's it for this Fighting Watches. Did you like this? Does this format work? Is it too silly? I feel it's too ridiculous, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's worth repeating. I don't know. But go ahead and comment regarding what your thoughts are on it. How would you have had Mr. Jones Watch Step Right Up win? Because again, the randomizer can't be wrong, so we had to do what it said, and it said it was going to win. So did you agree with my arguments? If you want to go ahead and say why you think the Zenith is better, I totally understand. Feel free to comment that as well. Other than that, if you enjoy the video, please do give it a like. It helps the channel. If you want to be notified when I have new videos, click the subscribe button. I do have a link in the video description to my 99-cent club. It's 99 cents a month. Gets you access to some things like badges and a few emojis, and that's pretty much it. So anyway, I'll close this video out. Take care, everybody. Talk to you on the next one.